iRacing right now.
He's got traction, he's going around the outside of both of them! Maloney!
Oh, he's taken Anderson! Anderson's up to
Oh my God! Big crash! Oh my goodness, half the field's going to get rolled!
Section's very close. These guys are going to want to make their way through the field very quickly.
Oh, here we go! Oh no!
That's massive! This is it! This is over! I can't believe this! Oh my God!
God, what?
Welcome to sunny Interlagos, Brazil, for this round of Ozicar Skip Barber Formula Series. Of course, as always, with the Skip Barber Formula 2000, a great entry-level car that creates some great and very, very close racing, and that's what this league is also about. Today's round, round 4, is just the 150-minute race, the Enduro format tonight. Drivers just going through their qualifying right now before they're going to grid up for that 50-minute race. I'm David Haynes and I'm joined by Jay Kennedy, also producing tonight. Jay, definitely going to be some pit stops, maybe some green flag pit stops tonight, and it always brings out the strategy and wanting to stay with the pack in these races.
Yeah, 100%. Hello, everyone. It's going to be an interesting night of racing just based on that strategy, as well as everyone has completed their laps very, very quickly. So we're actually going to get straight into the grid. But strategy is going to be very, very crucial tonight. I'm looking forward to seeing all the different strategies play out.
What more needs to be said about Interlagos that hasn't been said before? A long, long history in motor racing, in Formula One as host of the Brazilian Grand Prix many a time, and also the site of a couple World Championship deciding races. They're all going to line up right now for their rolling start. And after qualifying that's just completed, this is what the grid is going to look like. Your front row is Alex McKellar and Ben Snell. Then Russell Clark, Daniel Hederscheid, Tim Cornt, Scott Barton for the top 6. Then comes James Chastanoff, Nathan Verney, Sean Doyle, Jason Fewens, Jeremy Bush, and Stafford Marsland.
Yep, and then we've got Mark Jeffrey and Braden Martin, followed by Dennis Hancock, Peter Wilkinson, Dean Russell, Isaac Summers, and then Ira Felberg, Stuart Crawford, Leon Williams, Steve Kirk, Philip Howell, and Alex John did not register a lap time. And there was one other that did not post a lap time as well. That was Darren Lassou.
Well, things were very interesting at Okayama a week ago, and a lot of those same names are right up the front again, Jay. It's interesting to see Ben Snell and Alex McKellar side by side on the front row. Russell Clark right in there. James Chastanoff out of 7th. Someone's to watch as well, I think, as they're going to start rolling for what's about 2/3 of a lap formation.
Interesting spot. They actually start their rolling start, isn't it? I thought they'd be either at the start line for a full lap or a little bit further around, but you're right, it's almost 2/3 of a lap. But yeah, it'd be a really interesting battle between those front 3 being McKellar, Snell and Clark. And the one missing from that group there, Alex John, no registered qualifying time, starting from 24th. Be interesting to watch him come through, but great qualifying from our solo Kiwi in the field, Daniel Hederscheid, P4.
I swear we had another Kiwi or two, I just can't recall.
Not this week.
Not this week? Alright. Have you got more granular region data than I do?
Yeah, I've got a way to get the country data out of the iRacing database, so I'll fill you in with that later on.
Interesting. This is where a lot of the action is going to be, I think, for today's race, is this run up the hill from, I always butcher the name, Yunsao, the long run up the hill. I've got to commentate with Brazilians and they always tell me whatever I say it's wrong, so it's fine. It's like being married, I guess. So then there's a big run up the hill past the pit straight and then into the center S at turn 1. We're going to see some overtaking for sure. Pace car pulls in to that pit entry. McKellar waits and the green flag is out, and he's still waiting. McKellar's going to get swamped a little bit here. Ben Snell immediately to the lead. Saw Russell Clark looking down the inside, but decided better off a fan out behind. A couple of cars diving down the inside at turn 1 here, looking aggressive early. This is still a 50-minute race with a lot of pit stops in their future as well.
Looks like we've got through fairly cleanly though, but you're right. McKellar, horrible start. Hedderscheid had a great start as well, as he's now starting to put a little bit of pressure on McKellar for that position too. Russell Clark also up there as well. So those front four all working to try and hold position, but back behind, side by side, a lot of the way through the field from their back.
Yeah, mostly clean so far. Philip Howes making a little bit of smoke signals, but everyone else looks like they're just trying to sort themselves out through the opening lap, trying to get that tyre temperature into these cars. They start off, even with that rolling start, very cold, and the road tyres are kind of spongy until they get their heat and their pressure in them. They don't have a construction like some race tyres that stands up without the pressure.
Yeah, exactly right. There's actually been an incident back in the field. Alex John involved. He was starting to make some big progress already into the top 20. He and Isaac Summers look like they've come together, and sparks still flying from Summers' car. There's another car that's slow as well. That's Stuart Crawford. His front wing looks like it's damaged, and maybe a little bit of suspension damage as well. So not a fully clean first lap.
Looks like the front right could have been a bit down there. So there's Snell in the lead. Hedderscheid and McKellar side by side behind him. And McKellar's kind of get hung out to dry here unless he can find a lane to slot back in. There's a lot of other cars lining up immediately behind. McKellar, oh my gosh, Russell Clark is looking down the inside 3 wide and decides better of it. He's going to try to follow McKellar on the racing line in towards turn 1.
Smoke signals from everyone blocking that front left wheel. Most
Side by
part
side
clean.
to Center S is so common.
Yep. Look at the gap that Snell's already pulled while these guys have been fighting as well. Already out to a 1.3 second advantage. Guys want to be careful. Of course, the big thing will be the safety car will bring them back together, but you don't really want to lose ground with someone this early on. It's a little bit demoralising to know that you've not got the pace of someone at this early stage of the race, when it being such a long race as well. Around about 25 laps of racing we're going to see.
There and thereabouts, maybe a little bit less when the pit stops and the safety cars come through. So doing race laps around about 2 minutes, a 50-minute race. The numbers are pretty easy to do. I'm pinning my hat on 24 laps. Really, really early. I'm throwing that out there. First virtual racing school replay of the evening, and it's what happened to Alex John deeper in the field. Did the 111 car there try to give a lot of room to the inside and didn't quite anticipate John coming around the outside?
Yeah, it's just what it looked like, just mistimed where the other cars were, and you also see that Stuart Crawford was involved there as well. He's come into the pits and has got some repairs done to his car. Feisty little battle here. This is for 5th. Fewens, Barton and Vernie. Chastanoff not too far away, or actually right in the middle of it too.
Yeah, there's Vernie looking down the inside, but he breaks a lot earlier.
Oh, car ran in the background.
Hancock speared sideways in a precarious position, trying to get going. Oh no.
That was always going to happen. Mark Jeffrey with nowhere to go. Thought he was going the right way, and by the time he realised he was going the wrong way, too late.
What does it look like? On board is Chastanoff backwards at Sean Doyle, and then Vernie in behind. Oh, that's at the front. McKellar and Snell around and together.
Yep. was about to say that Snell was being caught, but it's a little bit worse than being caught. There's contact there between them.
Yeah, so at the lead there. We come to the infield. Oh, he loses it himself. Too much on the curb. McKellar entirely innocent there.
Has McKellar got away with that without any damage?
It was a little kiss.
But the car's not hurting too much. You won't want to be pinning too early and out of sequence with everyone else, so he'll try and close back up. So Russell Clark now leads Daniel Hederscheid in second. And then that battle we were watching with those 5 cars earlier, that's now the battle for a podium spot between Chastanoff, Fewens, Barton and Doyle, with McKellar and Verney in it as well.
Yeah, it sure is. So Clark and Hederscheid leading. Plenty of battles in this gaggle for third place. Fewens on the racing line, Chastanoff defending the inside. Immediately behind, Doyle and Barton. Barton's trying to get down the inside at turn 4. And all of them stay within track limits, which is kind of rare to see when cars are battling into turn 4 and 5. You very often see someone sort of push wide off the wrong side of that curb where the track then, and the runoff drops away just past the track limits at turn 4 there.
Hederscheid applying a lot of pressure there to Russell Clark, but nothing happening yet. Smoke signals from Jason Fewens. Sean Doyle, nowhere to go but forced to the outside. And then crosses over, but he's still on the outside. He's not able to get away through here on Fewens. And McKellar trying to get involved in this now too.
McKellar picked one off far more cleanly than Lewis Hamilton tried. Same maneuver, better result in the Alex Albon Memorial turn. And then Young Cow, Yun Shao, Gun Show, up the hill they come, and McKellar is feisty, looking for a couple more here. He's going to go side by side with Doyle, try to pick off Fewens. 3 wide, he's to the inside of Fewens now. The only thing that's really going to help him is if he could pick off the slipstream from Chastanoff. If he's not able to, that's going to go to Doyle. I think McKellar's got himself far enough down the inside. He's staked his claim, and he's looking for 2 for 1. He's going to get 1, but then he's going to get strung out around the outside of turn 2, and it'll have to wait.
Good job from Sean Doyle there to place his car in the right spot on the outside, hold on to that position from Fewens and McKellar. Sometimes tough to know when you're 3 wide on the outside how much room to give, but seemed to give just enough to Fewens and then to McKellar, but McKellar's held strong. Going to finally get that spot, probably 3 corners later than he would have liked to.
Oh, he's not clear yet.
Maybe
He's not. Chastanoff's given the slipstream across to keep them side by side. So it's still around the outside here for McKellar. Good speed at the first apex, but then he can't get the rotation to the apex of the second. And still around the outside, he's not giving up, refusing to give up. Can he get clear? Not yet, but he almost forces Doyle to yield on that one.
A little battle, but what it's done, Chastanoff a little bit of a gap, but probably not out of draft range, still only 7/10 ahead. The front 2 are definitely out of draft range now. 3-second gap between Hederscheid and Chastanoff, so battle for first and second, they're gone. Battle for the rest of the spots, the minor placings, well and truly on. But safety car coming at some point will definitely bring them back together.
McKellar just closing up towards Chastanoff here. Not letting Chasty get away. And that looks like a lot of speed through the second apex and into Curva de Sol as well for McKellar, as Ben Snell and Braden Martin can have a bit of a battle here. I wonder if there's still some damage on that car for Snell at all.
Front wing doesn't look great.
No.
Will be hurting his speed. As you see Braden Martin just scoot straight on by, so...
Look at the move from Doyle.
Whoa! Oh,
Oh, and then the
together.
team come together. Fewens with some parts coming off his car. I think Doyle missed his braking marker there, and he's thrown it down the inside. Almost on accident. He's been watching the two battle in front. That was McKellar getting down the inside of Chastanov, and then Doyle. It just yeets in. There's no other word for it. Somehow in all of that, I think Fewens gets cops a hit wheel to wheel from his teammate.
He's lost his rear wing as well, so he'll be hurting with that damage. The sun comes back out.
Great place to get a tan.
Wouldn't know, I've never been.
Yeah. What, tanned?
I don't look like I have been.
So that's your top two right there, where Daniel Hederscheid has been very, very patient for a couple of laps. Not a bad idea with the pace that Russell Clark has been doing. It's a bit more change behind them, though. Doyle did get in front of Chastanov. Verney just
through.
Yeah, picked off Barton, who might be carrying a little bit of damage from his hit with Fewens.
Alex John on the recovery, up to 16th now, just got past Ira Felberg. It's Chastanov back through on Doyle, but Doyle coming back.
Yeah, Chastity and Doyle side by side coming up the hill. Doyle's just not quite placed right for that one at Ferragira.
Glad you know those corner names. I can never remember the corner names at this track. Other tracks I'm great at. This one, just can't ever seem to remember their names.
Well, we've got Senna S for 1 and 2, Curva de Sol for 3, Casita de Lago. Well, Retta Aposta is the straight down to Casita de Lago at 4-5. 6 there is Ferragira, which means horseshoe. Couple here, no idea until we get back up the hill to Bico de Pato, which is the Duck's Bill.
This one's the corner that everyone runs really wide on the AstroTurf. That's how
Sure
I know
do.
it. Little pack starting to form behind Braden Martin now with Ben Snell and Tim Corn. Those three all fairly even on pace. Just see James Chastanov lost spot, and new leader as well, Daniel Hederscheid. Finally decides he's going to take the lead away from Russell Clark. It's only taken him, what, 8 laps to decide to finally go through?
I think they've seen McKellar catching them. McKellar's just set the fast lap of the race. There's an aggressive move from Cornt. It's all on behind as well. Fewens, Russell, Bush in here. Marsland and I think it's Peter Wilkinson on the tail. Yep. So yeah, McKellar having just set the fastest lap of the race, I think has sort of lit the fire between Hederscheid and Clark.
Definitely has. They've decided they need to start working smarter, not harder. 2 seconds at that current pace. Well, he'll be in the draft probably next lap if he can take as much time as he just did. How cool is this from Chastanov and Doyle side by side?
Doesn't end, does it?
Not at all.
Not helping them catch McKellar though, who they were a second slower than on the last lap. That's a different view than we normally get from the rear-facing camera. That's life for Jason Fewens at the moment.
A little less obscured than what we would normally see. If I could get my words out. Probably not far away from that first round of pit stops as well.
No, obviously 15 minutes in now, 10 minutes away from the halfway point. McCullough goes and sets another fastest lap of the race and is now only 1.5 seconds behind Clark. Here though, that was Caunt getting in front of Braden Martin. Oh, and then catching some of the grass. Oh no! Didn't Nico Hulkenberg do that once? He's caught some of the grass as the corner starts curving back towards the apex. And it sent him for a slide. I thought he was going to hit. I thought he was going to knock the rear wing off Fewens for the second time.
Almost need a counter on how many times these two have changed position over the last 3 or 4 laps, because it has been an incredible amount that they're just chopping and changing position. But they are losing a fair bit of ground to McCullough. It is now 4 seconds that they are behind McCullough. McCullough's probably in draft next lap, or this lap, so he'll be able to close that gap to the front back down.
Yeah, he's about to rocket himself back to the lead of the race, I feel. Kind of speed that going with, he's going to catch first and second. It just never ends here, but Barton and Verney might almost actually catch them, because Barton was quicker the last 2 laps or so, I think. His battling isn't helping them just yet.
Doyle and Chastanov, believe it or not, have just changed positions. Amazing.
Try to hide my surprise. Doyle got down the inside, got the spot there.
Ben Snell ran a little bit wide there as well, so he's just lost a couple of spots. Back to 10th. He's lost that spot to Braden Martin and Tim Corners. We've got our first pit stop.
Ewan is in the wall as well.
Oh no. Dennis Hancock is in the lane, and there's another car involved there too. That's the 04 of Jeremy Bush.
Between the two, you could build the whole Skippy, because Fewens has still got his front wing. But that is the center S. What has happened here? Fewens is obviously down the inside. Oh, he has a wiggle. He checks up, and the driver behind's not sure which way he's going to go. And that's how they came together. Fewens got a lot of that curb at the first apex. And then he's trying to catch the slide. Yeah. Snaps back the other way for poor Jeremy Bush, who was just trying to avoid it, and gets escorted off the circuit.
McCullough's now down to under a second behind Clark, so this gap is well and truly closing. Clark's had enough of sitting behind Herderscheid. He's starting to move on forward, takes the lead away, but McCullough says no thanks, I'm going to go into the pits.
Annoying. I was expecting him to set the fastest lap of the race again when he picked up that toe coming up the hill. He's not alone though. It's the first 2 stay out, but Popular behind. How about that side by side on the pit entry? You're lucky it allows for it. Verney trying to get past in the pit lane here. And another sprint on field. That's Alex John. You can attack the pit entry so hard here because it's such a steep ramp to the cones that you can brake very, very late, and the angle of the hill helps you wash off some of the speed, and then it's still 72 k's an hour or so for the speed on the lane. This is the lead. The 2 that stayed out, but about 15 cars behind them have all jumped into the lane, so this is an important lap to an important pit stop.
Literally everybody has pitted other than the top 4. Clark, Herscheid, Marsland and Felberg have not pitted. So McCullough, the first car that has pitted, P5.
Well, got to keep an eye on these two, who you have to imagine are going to be pitting this time. Also be good to keep an eye on what service they take.
My thinking is, as far as I know, they don't have to take tyres as they normally would for a normal round. So my understanding is that most will take fuel only, but you can get away with taking 2 tyres. The time does allow you to take 2 if you would like to, but it doesn't usually make sense to take tyres just based on what's happening in the race. So it looks like
The
no
moment
tyres
tyres there.
Yeah.
The fuel going in. Marsland and Felberg in? Or has Felberg stayed out?
Yeah, Felberg's in as well.
Okay, now everyone has made an entry to pit lane. Here's McKellar with his earlier pit stop. And it's looking pretty good for him as race your way through this pit exit here. If you are Russell Clark, he might still pick up into the slipstream here, but McKellar is through and into the lead by stopping that 1 lap earlier.
Yeah,
By stopping 1 lap earlier, though, he's also taken a little bit less fuel. That's one of the things that's helped him jump, is Clark has gone all the way to the very last drops of the fuel tank, and therefore had to fill up an extra litre or so.
It will also pit lane transit time, so while his pit stop was around about 1.5 seconds quicker, his pit lane transit time was around 3 seconds quicker. So McKellar's gained a lot of time on everyone just on how aggressively he entered the pit lane, which up the hill you can brake a little bit later than you do expect. So he's used that to his advantage, jumped the lead to become the leader himself.
Yeah, I mean, McKellar was also a little ginger on his way into the pit box, but then we saw one other driver at least overshoot, which you never, ever want to do, because that's very painful to have to find reverse gear.
Peter
Through all of
Wilkinson looks like he's had the shortest stop out of everyone as well.
Yeah, I've seen Heddershire, who was right with Clark, kind of get dropped from what's now 2-driver battle for the lead. Here is Snell getting his nose in front of Nathan Verning as they're slipstreaming off Scott Barton in 6th.
Yeah, it looks like Ben Snell's got his car repaired during that pit stop as well. So new front nose cone, new front wing being placed on the car while he's been in the stop, so that'll help his pace in this second half of the races. We're nearly halfway through, and lap 13, I'll tell you what, your 24 looks alright, I reckon. Based on the fact we've got a safety car still to come.
Mm-hmm. Well, Stuart Crawford, who pitted after lap 1, is back on the lane because of fuel, but I think annoyingly, he's not made it to halfway.
What do you get? 11 laps out of that tank then. So well, 11 laps would get him to lap 24. So if it is 24 laps long, you might be okay.
$11 would get him to 22. He'd be 2 laps short.
Would you like me pressing the wrong button then? That was good, wasn't it?
Mate, I was going to say nothing about it. I was just going to let it fly.
No, I'll say it. I'll call
You'll
myself
own
out.
up. Snell, Barton, Verney.
Snell's starting to catch Doyle as well. Actually, that last lap by was the fastest lap of the race for Ben Snell as well. Got a 50.3, and he's got some good draft again on Sean Doyle.
He's put Doyle big time.
Yes.
I'll see what this is for Doyle. 51.8, yeah, well away from some of his best. I reckon Doyle might have taken tyres that he's still got to bring in.
potentially, which you could then take advantage of later on in the race. But his pace is a long way off what you would have expected now after the pit stops. I mean, he was right with Chastanoff, but he's now lost 2.5 seconds. They did come out of the pits fairly close together. I mean, not this much. So, yeah, maybe tyres have been taken there by Doyle and Ben Snell back through. As Dean Russell's had a moment through turn 1, 2.
Careful going again there. But what looked like an easy move for Snell. Well, this has been Doyle all race long, hasn't it? He's giving no one anything for free. It just does seem like that Snell has had some really, really strong pace. What Snell needs is Barton and Verney to get in here and take the heat off him.
He's got 2.5 seconds or so to catch up to Chastanoff as well, but based on the pace, I mean, the pace that he's had is not 100% accurate because there's been a lot of draft, but I mean, you would think, based on the fact that Snell qualified P1, he may be able to close up to Chastanoff because Chastanoff has 0 draft help. So Ben Snell may be able to get there. 2.3 seconds the gap at the moment.
Knowing that we're going to have a safety car and that's going to save you a bit of fuel, I wonder if anyone has considered covering off and pitting again this lap, maybe next lap. There's a joker strategy that you could do by pitting again right now and filling it up.
I'm sure someone like Alex John is probably thinking something around that. It's got nothing to lose. Hasn't been a great race in regards to where he started, but he's up to P11. But I would think that someone like him may benefit from doing something like that.
No one does. Everyone just pits under the safety car. I'm going to be annoyed. Snell, Doyle, Barton, Verney, and Doyle still keeping a lot of pressure on Snell, and Barton hasn't come in to bring the pressure off just yet. That was a very optimistic look from Doyle that I think is actually going to cost him a little bit of momentum.
Barton not really looking like he wants to make a move yet. He's just happy just sitting there watching, waiting. Pit window to make it home probably going to open in the end of next lap, we would guess.
Safety car, I reckon someone could do end of this lap.
Yeah. I mean, we're 95% sure that there's a safety car coming. We've been hinted at that there's a safety car incoming.
Let's figure this. You know, there's always 2 laps minimum for the safety car, and you basically burn half the fuel, and then it also, at that kind of speed, might wipe a lap off the prediction as well. So I think right now, if you were going to take the gamble, is when you would take the gamble. None of these guys fancy it. Braden Martin and Tim Cornt in zone. But here's really what Snell needed, is Barton is starting to make Doyle defend. And a scruffy lap then from Chastanoff as well. See, Snell only 1.5 seconds back now.
Yeah, he's definitely closing that gap down. Another lap below 1 minute 50. And Doyle, he's quite happy to fight and try and take these positions away and get back up forward again. Maybe tyres now up to temp. We know that in our regular races, there's been a big wreck back in the field, though. Better go to that.
Yeah, Dennis Hancock and Jason Fewens. Do you know what wing Jason Fewens is missing now? Oh dear. It looks like one of those ground effect F1 cars in the 80s.
Finally got that rear wing put back on, and now he's lost the front.
Oh, it's sparking. I'm not sure the suspension or the front wing or some of that stuff is particularly good for Fewens, but here's what happened.
Big lock up for Hancock. Hancock already had damage to his rear wing as well. Oh, that's messy.
Fewens was expecting a bit of space there that he didn't get.
Hancock's just driven as if Fewens wasn't there at all.
Yeah.
Fewens has decided that his race is done. He's brought it back to the pits. We continue on. Snell and Doyle side by side. So it's taken a full lap for Ben Snell to get that spot fully back. And how long until he loses it again?
Do you know what? Alex John's in the pit lane.
Here we go. He might be listening to us.
I'd say in the long run you shouldn't, but today we might be on something.
Potentially. I mean, they are pretty smart, those guys in green. All four have been around the block a few times before.
They'll be fooled by the rocks that they've got.
Righto, Jenny.
Yep.
Yeah, I know what's up. I know where you're going.
Yeah. We talk about many times what cultural things do or don't fall within your youth and your generation.
Were you saying I'm old or something?
I'm just saying J-Lo was a little... she was on the wane as I was on the rise. Here's Alex John having made a pit stop just to top off the fuel. Caught in... I don't know, I just see that car every time and I want to buy a pair of Dunlop Volleys and I don't understand why.
I really love that livery. It's just a very, very unique colour scheme. Just very, very cool look. Very unique.
Saw that coming. A bit of the grass on the way in and hasn't managed to catch the Tokyo Drift though. He was so close to, earning some style points on that one.
Safety car.
Chastanoff are in the lane right now as the safety car has been called. Pit exit going to be closed or open for them? Wow.
Perfect call.
And Ben Snell and Sean Doyle were nose to nose, side by side when the safety car was called. So they got to kind of check very closely who was in front at the time.
These guys are all coming in a closed pits as far as I know. So they will get a penalty from iRacing, I would believe.
I think so as well.
Chastanoof, Heddershide both come out. But Alex John is going to jump to third.
Race controller clearing black flags for people who entered a closed pit.
Okay. These two here are racing around to come into the pits.
Yeah.
This is going to be a committed pit entry.
Clark, see, under normal racing conditions, Clark could pass him on the pit entry, but he can't under safety car. He'd get a black flag, which he'd then claim was for entering the pit, and they'd clear anyway. Whatever, here they come for their pit box and their service.
With the stricken car of Jason Fewens there in the pits as well. Ben Snell
Was
in,
Alex
Sean
John?
Doyle.
What speed is Felberg doing? Because Alex John's behind him.
Felberg is not 100% up to speed, but I think he's doing about 90% speed. So it will hurt Alex John a little bit.
I mean, Alex John's made the perfect strategy call if they were playing IMSA style pit rules, which we're not, which has kind of shot him in the foot.
Yeah. He's going to come out around about Braden Martin. So he has actually gained a spot out of it. Probably not as many as he would have liked, but he has gained a spot.
I mean, it still compresses the field for him, and he'll start with a couple seconds behind the leader.
Yeah, exactly right. He's got an opportunity to pass even more cars with the field compressed, so that's a big bonus for him. Leon Williams is going to just stay on the lead lap as well. He's timed that pit exit perfectly. And now they're coming around to find where the safety car is. I don't even know where it is. There it is.
Yep, our Porsche is back again.
We're finally caught up to the safety car. Liam Williams will get a wave around, and then we will be 1 to green, which will mean that your lap count is going to be pretty much bang on, I think. Maybe it will be that 25 laps I said at the start.
Hope you're not right.
Oh, now I forgot I set up a camera just for you two.
Hello, truck.
Not a fire truck, but it's something with flashing lights.
Some great tax incentives on commercial vehicles in Brazil that sees some coach builders turn full-size luxury SUVs and other things into utes, into pickup trucks, because then they're cheaper. Anyway, there's a weird article I saw. You should look it up. Some interesting creative vehicles in Brazil on account of if you can register it as a commercial vehicle, you can save not just a little bit, but a lot.
Hopefully we'll see Leon Williams waved by the safety car in a second. Darren Lassu's coming back into the pits. No, actually he's coming in for his second pit stop. He missed the boat on that call that race control would clear the black flags. Probably paid attention to what iRacing said and been caught out by it. But they've still come out in a decent position based on where he was. Interesting that after all of that, we're now back to the same front three that we were at the very start of the race. Front four even. Oh, your lap count might end up being right too, because I've just noticed the lights are still on the safety car. So we're going one more lap. Give us what, about 6 minutes of racing. We'll restart on lap 22. That'll get us to 24. Got some drivers jostling for position and sorting themselves into the correct order as well. James Chastanoff just got ahead of Alex John. And Alex John ahead of Braden Martin. So obviously at the actual pit exit line. Nope, Braden Martin coming back through again. Just ignore I said anything about that.
Pace car is our leader. McCallum Clark Snell means it's very green at the front.
Barney holding the flag out, saying that they will go green next time by.
Lights are off the pace car, which should mean one more tour of Interlagos before we get racing again.
Safety truck also turned its lights off as well.
Big movers in the field. One of them is Alex John. He's currently sitting 10th in the train, having started 24th, so he's got plus 14 next to his name. No one else is close to that. And Bush.
How did that happen?
Oh no, there's a lot of damage on Bush. He can't get drive. One of the axles is down.
Yep. You damaged that car.
So there's been a bit of a checkup behind the safety car, which is embarrassing. We do have the time to take a peek. What exactly has happened
Oh, he got hit.
Poor Jeremy Bush?
He's been hit from behind. I think by Steve Kirk.
Yeah, I mean, there's still a little bit of a checkup that's occurred there, isn't it?
Yeah.
Doesn't look anything malicious from Kirk. It's just it happens. You know, one driver has to stamp on the brakes a little bit. The driver behind has to get on the brakes harder, and the driver behind that doesn't have enough time to react, because when you're in the train, you're sitting low in the car. You really can't see what anything other than the car in front of you or the car in front of you is doing.
Yeah, and Bush is trying to bring it back to the pits. Probably won't be able to, but it's a standard traffic jam scenario, isn't it? One car slows, the next car slows a little bit more, the next car slows a little bit more, and then all of a sudden,
How you get to
reaction.
stop traffic on the freeway that then seems to magically clear itself.
Yeah. You slow down for something, and then you get to where everyone started slowing down, and there's nothing there.
Well, with 7 minutes left, we're about to get racing again. That will be 4 more laps, methinks. Barney, he's ready. He's ready for them. It's in the air, but it's not waving yet. Pace car is in. McKellar is racing, and there we go.
Barney finally decides to start waving the flag as well. Single file most of the way through the field. Ira Felberg and Dean Russell side by side, but no moves being made. Race control just clearing a few black flags after they had to sort drivers into position, but McKellar, decent jump, but not quite enough to break away and break that draft.
So, rolling, single file start, actually sees them all spread out pretty cleanly. Definitely saw Dean Russell going for a move though. He's not been able to complete because around the outside of Ferragura isn't the way to go. We're on board with one of the something tech sharp something. I'm kidding. It's
There's your helper.
yeah, Sharp EIT by Tech 1. And there's Braden Martin, who is in one of these packs as well. Here's McKellar getting away a little bit though, and the go with Milo guys might have to work together to keep him reeled in. Snell is going to get ahead of Clark, maybe. Snell is then going to just be picking up a slipstream off McKellar. Oh, he's underneath the second, but by the tiny, tiny amounts, they've got to work together here, otherwise McKellar is going to get away.
Yep, they've got to actually be very, very smart in how they do this over the next lap or two. Because if they don't work... Oh, Snell almost looped it there. If they don't work together and work smart...
He's going to catch too much curve at turn 1. And... how do you rate that?
Not good when you hit the wall at the end of it, unfortunately. Yeah, Ben Snell, Russell Clark, if they don't work together here over the next lap, that last lap will be gone and they won't have a chance to gain any positions. Alex John up the inside though of Braden Martin, so now up into P8 after Sean Doyle's unfortunate spin. He was doing a great job, but P21 at the moment does not show how well he's driven in this race.
Yeah, the human highlight reel at times. Keller so close to the grass there as well. We've seen a couple drivers in a couple places, including here. Managed to just tag a bit of grass, and it doesn't help them go faster. 5. Vernie lost 3 positions from where he started on the grid. Quick pit stop during the safety car there when the field was already maybe somewhat compressed. I think it's helped him jump a spot or 2. Now he runs in 5th. Heddershide gets a bit loosey-goosey through June Cow.
You're saying it different every time. I love it. I'm wondering if Heddershide may have taken tyres in the pit stop for that last lap. So a couple of the guys' pit stops are very, very long in comparison. As you said, Vernie, very, very short pit stop time. So wondering if there has been a little tyre stop. As in the background, Alex John makes it 3 wide and he's going to get 2 for 1 up the inside of Chastanov. Not quite able to.
He made some great moves earlier, but he's started to reach.
He's done it.
With the tough cookies like Chastanov, who aren't going to give him anything easy, and make him pull off moves like that around the outside of turn 2 to try to grab a spot, and up into 6th he goes. Top 5 have set sail, and Sean Doyle, it goes from worse to worser.
What an unfortunate end for him. Oh, big hit there with Isaac Summers, and yeah, I'm sure Doyle will be disappointed with how this race is finished, considering how well he was doing earlier on. Remember that lap count. We're now on lap 24. We're going to go one more 25 lap race.
Peter Wilkinson is a pinball. Darren LeSue and Stuart Crawford with race-ending damage, fair to say, on both of their cars. Peter Wilkinson's trying to get going, but I don't know if 3 or only 2 of his wheels are touching the ground on that toboggan.
Oh.
Yeah, the pedal in the middle is the one to hit and hold once you realize you're out of control. They are not getting away. On the final lap, McKellar is under an immense amount of pressure. The pressure goes on behind with John and Chastanov, 2 drivers who we kind of expected to fight like this. Whoa! Alex John just manages to hold enough room to take the inside at turn 3. Front, Ben Snell has a blowtorch to Alex McKellar. Going for the race lead. I think Heddershide's just slipping back and into the clasps of Nathan Vernie, so it's probably between these 3 for the race lead now, and they're making McKellar work for it. He's got the inside covered, and Snell's going to try to come back with a great lot of speed into the braking zone at the top of the hill here. Is he going to take a dive, or is he going to try to set up the drag race on the final straight? Hard to know, but McKellar is defending everything like it could be a strike at any time.
Alex John, Scott Barton changed positions as well, so John has dropped from Chastanov, but this is a great fight. Ben Snell is probably just trying to set himself up for that final run out of the last corner so that he times that run perfectly to the finish line. And I reckon that's what the teammates were doing earlier. We saw the little side-by-side over the finish line. I think that's what they were testing. Who's going to get there, though?
Come on, Pierre Gasly. Snell is going. He's going to try to get his nose to the inside. He will. He might have the overspeed. This is going to be a photo finish. Barney looks entirely nonplussed, but Ben Snell's got his nose in front already, and I can't see how McKellar can get back. Ben Snell is going to steal the win from underneath Alex McKellar's nose, and Russell Clark is going to complete the podium. McKellar grenades his engine on the way into turn 1, I think, to express how he feels about that one. And then Alex John did manage to hold on for 6th against Chastanov.
Literally nothing between them in the end too, Ben Snell and Alex McKellar. 500ths of a second as the teammates take each other out after the line. Love to see it.
With a wiggle on that nose cone as it finally displaces. The teammates, they're pretty happy. Clark for 3rd and Ben Snell taking the win. Let's have a looky then. Ben Snell, your winner. We've seen closer finishes, but that was still all on the line on the way to the checkered flag. McKellar in 2nd, Clark in 3rd. Hederscheid and Verney, oh so close, but Hederscheid manages to hold on. Alex John in 6th. Giant mover in the 50-minute race here. James Chastanoff 7th. Scott Barton in 8th. Braden Martin for 9th. And it is Dennis Hancock in 10th place.
Yep, he finishes ahead of Tim Corn in 11th with Mark Jeffrey, position 12. Dean Russell finishes 13th, only just behind Jeffrey there. 500ths of a second separating those two. Then Ira Felberg, Stafford Marsland. And then we got Steve Kirk, Isaac Summers, Leon Williams, Peter Wilkinson, and Stuart Crawford. The top 20. And we go over the page to Sean Doyle, Darren Lassou, Jeremy Bush, Jason Fewens, and Philip Howe. Doyle and Lassou, those positions may change because Darren Lassou is still just limping around at the back, so he might gain a couple of spots based on the fact that a few DNFs have happened in this race at the end.
We saw Fewens there running out of spare parts to keep going. Lassou, is he gonna... Yeah, he's gonna displace Crawford and Doyle for 20th. I think that all set up for a pretty exciting finish after everything, and I think that's a clever drive from Ben Snell to be able to time the run and be able to take that lead away, because it wasn't just about, one lap pace or time trial pace. It was about putting himself in the right position at the right time there. So that was a job well done and a deserved victory from Ben Snell. See if we can grab a word from a couple of our podium drivers today, and the answer is yes, we can. So let's start with 3rd place, Alex McKellar. Second place, Alex McKellar. Got confused there. What a great battle between yourself and Ben Snell right at the end there. What did you need to do to be able to hold him off on the final lap? What would you have done different?
Oh, g'day, Jay. G'day, David. It's hard, like 1 lap short, and he was half a second behind coming out of the last corner, and a winner. The last lap is 0.2, and you're pretty much food or cattle fodder at that point. So, I could have defended the inside potentially, but honestly, I left the door open to try and get some side draft. It was really my only hope at that point. But not much I could do. Ben drove a strong race to come back after the safety car for that initial incident, and full credit to him.
2 pit stops today. Thoughts on how the safety car played into the battle?
Yeah, look, it's as I think we kind of thought about last week's Enduro as well. It's really 2 races. The first one to gain a bit of track position before the safety car, and then it's game on after, because it really bunches the field up, and any gap that we had at the start in that opening stint was really negated by the safety car. So you really sort of fighting for track position initially, and then it's game on after that second safety car, or after that first safety car.
Well, in it to win it till the dying breath there, grabbing 2nd place, and I think holding yourself very, very well. Who do you want to thank?
Yeah, look, thanks to Ira and the crew for putting on the series, to the good doctor who was back in the house, my teammate at Top Split Racing, and your good selves putting on the broadcast. Look forward to watching you back. Thanks, guys.
Second place finisher, Alex McKellar. Therefore, let us grab the third place man, Russell Clark, who is going to be with Jay.
Russell, congratulations on a P3. At one point there, it looked like you might have had enough to steal the win away, but just weren't able to quite bridge the gap during that early phase in the race.
Yeah, howdy doody. Yeah, it wasn't the early phase of the race that was the problem. It was my second pit stop. Being the typical Milo driver I am, I forgot that the tyres are automatically checked when you exit the pits. So I took all 4 tyres in my second stop, which, fortunately, thanks to the safety car, it didn't cost me any positions, but I was struggling with cold tyres at the end there, so I couldn't really take the fight to the other 2. But yeah, it's the closest I've been to a mistake-free race so far this season, and it's good to be back on the podium. So yeah.
It's a great little fight you had with Daniel Hederscheid early on too. Talk us through that.
Yeah, it was a bit racy. That's the period of the race I just want to cooperate with people and try and break away if we can, but he wanted to fight, but he kept it clean, so he's entitled to do that if he wants. Not the way I would have gone about it, but it was fun, I suppose.
Next couple of weeks, two rounds left to go. Next week we head to Monza, but around a layout that I don't think many drivers even know exists. I know it's a great little layout, the junior layout. Have you done any practice? Have you looked into that one at all?
I've raced it before in the Skippy, but it's been at least a couple of years, I think. I remember it's great fun, so I'm looking forward to that. And then, yeah, Bathurst. We all love Bathurst. I don't think it'll be a 2 or 3 car battle in the last lap like it has been in previous years. There'll be a few more contenders this season, I think. So yeah, that'll be a good one too.
Well, congratulations on a P3 finish tonight. Who would you like to thank?
You. Thanks, buddy.
Oh, thank you.
Cheers.
This is Russell Clark, and we'll finish it off with Ben Snell standing by with David Haynes.
Yeah, can you feel the love there, Jay?
I feel the love.
Yeah, you're going to be riding that one for a while. And riding on that high for a while, I think is going to be Ben Snell, just getting your nose in front to grab the win after 50 minutes of racing. That must be a good feeling.
Hello, yes, I feel like I might have stolen that one a little bit, but I'll take it, I guess.
Well, you had the fastest lap of the race as well, so clearly some pace here and there, and you're in the right spot with the right move at the right time. That's what you want from a winner, right?
Yeah, definitely. I think just things fell my way after my completely normal Ben Snell spinning on cold tyres trick, and really just convenient that the safety car was so far towards the end of the race, and I was able to close up some spots and start in third in that at that restart. And of course, Russell being on cold tyres because it's Russell, and I could just sneak straight past him, and thankfully I could bridge the gap to Alex and take it to him on the last straight there.
Saw not just yourself get a bit squirrely on some cold tyres, we also saw some other drivers spin on the curbs. There's some big curbs that you can use here. Was there any trouble with them though?
Yeah, the curves are kind of funny because obviously you've got this big divot where the curb sits, so you can really hook the car like on the edge of the curb and gain a lot of speed if you get it right. But if you get it slightly wrong, it'll just pick the car up slightly, and it's so easy just to lose the rear end. Obviously, on cold tyres, it's when the most likely you're going to have a spin or a big mishap. But even on warm tyres, if you got it slightly wrong, you'd have a big wiggle. Just obviously with the warmer tyres, the car's a lot easier to save.
And that run from bottom of the hill to the checkered flag, had you crunched the numbers? Was it calculated, or was it pure seat of the pants? Well, this is what we've got to try on the last lap.
Yeah, it was probably more calculated than it looked. I could have gone side by side into 4. I definitely caught Al. I didn't have him turn 1 on the last lap, but turn 4, I definitely could have had a run at him, but I felt it was safer to sit behind him rather than sit 2 by 2 throughout the whole lap and invite the rest of the pack behind us and have a 6-way fight for the lead. So I just tucked in behind him, made sure we still ran a fast lap, couldn't let Russell or anyone get behind us, and then just got a good enough run. I was surprised Alex left me a car width on the inside there, I think it would have been a lot closer if I had to go the long way around, but he was very gracious, and I will take the win.
Absolutely, you will. Congratulations. Anyone to thank?
Of course, massive shout out to you guys for putting on the broadcast. Thanks to Ira and the Ozicar crew for putting on such a great series. It's great to see the Skippy getting some love. And a massive shout out to Russell for making it on the podium, and he had such a professional interview as well.
It was heartwarming.
It sure was. But yeah, thanks guys.
Thank you, race winner Ben Snell here, round 4 of the Ozicar Skip Barber Formula Series. Well, Jay, that was about everything we expect out of these Enduros in Ozicar. A lot of, checking out what everyone else has got until that safety car, and then a mad dash to the end.
Yeah, exactly right. And the mad dash to the end always going to happen in these sort of races. But tell you what, it'll be a mad dash next week, because this track at Monza, basically using the main straight and the last section of the track, it's almost an oval, and we're going to see some great racing here. I love this track. We could see some names returning to the series just because this track's in the schedule, because it is the perfect circuit for these cars.
I've never driven it outside of week 13, if I'm honest, but it is a peculiar little layout that just sort of goes from before the first chicane, just cuts across to the exit of Ascari, and really does sort of a fast blast down towards its turn 1, and then fast blast back around Parabolica. Repeat. We'll get a lot of laps in. It will be interesting to watch, and not much to speak of for left-hand corners. Don't miss that one. Tune in here on Simspeed for round 5 of Ozicar Skip Barber Series. Same time next week. Been David Haynes, been Jay Kennedy with me and producing, and we hope you enjoyed tonight's show, and we'll see you again soon.
This is fantastic. This is GT racing right now.
He's got traction, he's going around the outside of both of them! Maloney!
Oh, he's taking Anderson. Anderson's up the
Oh
wall.
my god! Big crash! Oh my goodness, half the field's gonna get rolled!
Second very close. These guys are want to make their way through the field very quickly.
Oh, there we go! Oh no! That's massive! This is it! This is over! I can't believe this! Oh my god! God, what?